1. Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Michelle from We Can Bring You Hope. We're broadcasting out of Pennsylvania today. We are going to be speaking with Lana. Her son, Austin Wise, went missing. We Can Bring You Hope. We're broadcasting out of Pennsylvania today. We are going to be speaking with Lana. Her son, Austin Wise, went missing in 2017. He is described as he went missing May 29th, 2017. He was 24 when he went missing. He's now 27. He's 5'5", 140 pounds, light brown hair, hazel eyes. Austin was last seen on 5/29/2017. He was last wearing a white shirt, blue jeans at the time of his disappearance. Austin left the home near the 3900 block of Griffin Road in Waycross, Georgia, and he had called a family member to pick him up. However, when the family member got there, he was no longer there. Austin has not been seen or heard from since. If you know where he is or you know what happened, could you please call the Ware County Sheriff's Office, Detective Melissa Britt, at 912-287-4326. He does have an active and open investigation with that police station. He's also listed in NamUs. His missing persons number in NamUs is MP 39294. You can call or text the We Can Bring You Hope tip line at 724-466-4673, or you can leave a tip on our tip portal at www.wecanbringyouhope.org, or you can send tips through wecanbringyouhope@gmail.com. There are plenty of different posters on our different groups and pages, and I'm going to introduce Lana now. And there are also several other ladies here that want to, help share awareness for Austin's case. Vivian Harrell is with us from We Can Bring You Hope, and Lana is here. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hello, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle. Hello, everybody, and I'm so glad that, we have everybody here to share his story. There's some friends, and is there family members here besides Lana, or is it friends?
Close enough to be family.
I was just going to say, let's just say friends, family, Okay. So, we can just start by, we're going to just, everybody say, introduce themselves, just say your first name if you want, and then if everybody wants to, go ahead and just start sharing some memories of Austin, tell us some, times that you had, what he liked, things you guys did. We'll start with Lana. Do you want to go ahead and start?
Sure, Michelle. I'm here. I'm Lana Paul, Austin's mother, and I'm at a loss for words now, I guess. But I just want everybody to know that Austin was a wonderful young man. He was also a loving dad to his young daughter. Austin had a smile that could light up a room. He could make you laugh he could make me laugh even on my worst day. He never met a stranger. He was always smiling and would lend a hand to anyone in need. He had a beautiful soul and a good heart. And it's been 3 years now, and I just want to bring my baby home. Go ahead, Michelle. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It was his daughter whenever he went missing.
Let's see. She's 4 now, and she was a year old.
Oh, so she was just a teeny tiny little one. She still is.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, she still is, but she knows who her daddy is. It's funny because she can look at pictures of him now, and that's my dad. And she's looked at pictures whenever he was a child, and she automatically recognized him That's my dad.
Oh, how sweet. That's so cute. Smart.
Yes, very smart.
Does anybody want? If you can just talk freely. I don't want to lead you into anything. You guys can just talk freely and share your experiences of your time with him.
Taryn, you go.
I'm Taryn. Austin was my I don't know if best friend would describe what he was. Sorry, I suppress these emotions a lot, and when I start talking about them, they come out. He's just missed so much.
I'm so sorry, honey.
Like Miss Lana said, his smile, he would light up the room. His personality, he was the jokester. He enjoyed making people laugh, and there wasn't too much that he couldn't turn into a joke. You don't find many people like him. When I think of him, the first thing that comes to my mind is just a true friend, loyal down to everything he was. If he was your friend, he was your friend. When he loved hard, and you don't find people like that anymore.
Right.
It's funny, Taryn. I hate to interrupt, but when she was talking about him, my memories of him, even when he was a baby, he was smiling. When he would wake up, and still be in the crib, he wouldn't wake up crying. I'd walk in the room and he'd be laughing and playing.
And he used that smile for his advantage.
Oh, he was very handsome.
He knew that smile would, if there was any little argument or anything you ever got into, he knew if he walked in the room and you had any anger emotions or upset emotions at him, if he smiled, you couldn't help but smile.
Yeah.
So he was a charmer.
Yeah. He was polite. Definitely polite, well-mannered. I never met a stranger. He would help anybody. I would tell him that sometimes, that, not everybody's your friend. But
he saw the good in people.
Believed in people. He saw all the good in people.
We all want to do that, but this day and time, you don't realize sometimes your best friend's your worst enemy.
Yes, that is so true.
Yeah, people you trust the most are the ones that stab you in the back. That's so bad to say, but it's true.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Austin was the type of kid that, he called me every day. I spoke with him every day on a daily basis, and we can talk about anything. So I know when he disappeared and he didn't call that something was wrong. Something was very wrong.
Because he'd have called you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always call Mama. The boys call Mama.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let everybody know I just added another caller on the line.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Hello, caller.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We're just having. Okay, good. We have everybody.
Sounded like it.
We have everybody. Okay, good. We have everybody just sharing some memories of Austin, and we're just talking freely, no kind of rhyme or reason. So feel free to jump in whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, like they said, he was a good kid, and he cared about people, and he would give you this if you needed something and he could help you. He wouldn't blink an eye to do it. You know, he had the biggest heart in the world.
I was actually just sitting here thinking as we were talking about him helping everybody. It's been a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure the first night I met Austin, I was having car trouble and I was broke down, and he actually was with somebody that I knew that I called, and he come instead of them coming to help me. And I'm pretty sure that's the first night I met him. And he come to help me with my car and didn't even really know me.
That sounds like Austin.
And I'm pretty sure that's the first night I met him.
When I met Lana, this is Tatum, by the way. But when I met Lana, I knew Terry, and when I met Lana, I went to Austin's vigil. But I remember seeing the signs, because I had a cousin that went missing 20 years ago. Well, when I seen the signs, the first thing I come home and told my mom, I was like, this is a handsome boy, somebody knows something here, And as me and Lana's been talking, see, my son was in an accident. They left him for dead. But for God, he made it. But he's never going to be the same, Joseph he was. But in our stories, the one thing we got in common is we believe the same group of people, and there's all of them know something. They're all hiding something. What I don't understand is quit being a coward and come forward. She wants closure. She'll never have peace, but she'll have closure on what happened to her son, and we can both help each other, as moms. And the same thing with my son, like I told Lana, I knew something was wrong when they said, well, he didn't come home, because my son will call me no matter what. That's just a mama's intuition, and that's a mama and son bond. Austin, all I've ever heard about him was what I've heard now, good stories about him, and what a handsome boy and good-hearted person. I mean, he was close to his mom. He would have called her. You see what I'm saying? So people out here know they need to come forward. I don't care if you write it down on a piece of paper and put it in her mailbox. You need to tell what happened, because now that I'm with her, I won't stop until both of the cases are closed and we know exactly what happened.
Exactly. Of course they know what happened. And I don't see how their conscience lets them sleep at night.
Because they don't have one. They're scum.
Without coming forward and letting somebody know. Like you said, they could be anonymous. They don't have to be, their identity don't have to be known, nothing. Just come forward with something, because you got a whole entire family and a 4-year-old baby girl who's without her daddy, and we need
it could easily be anybody's child. So when people think that it will never happen to them,
they don't know.
They're wrong, because
Lana never expected to get that phone call. I never expected to get that phone call, because you think, you see these things happening, and in the back of your head, well, it could happen to me, but you don't never think about that at the moment. But then when it does, you think, well, my son didn't deserve this. But you know what? These other parents that say, I would never, these parents are covering up for these kids, and they're doing wrong by that. They're not being a good parent, because if my kid, and I can say this with every bone in my body, if my kid did something to Austin or Joseph, what these kids did, they would pay for it dearly, because I didn't raise people to do something like that. They need to come forward too, and they need to say, look, you're gonna pay for your consequences. I mean, that's right. That's what God would want, and that's what's right.
Well, I just want to add to that. We have a case out of Texas, and the girl started dating a boy. She didn't know his history, you know what I mean? And here he had a girlfriend who he had a child with prior to being Tiffany. He had a girl 10 years before that he was dating, and she went missing, okay? And instead of his family speaking up and warning Tiffany, like saying, or even discussing it, so that she could make her own observations on it, they never told her. So then what happens 10 years later? Tiffany goes missing.
She goes missing.
Right, and now he's convicted of her kidnapping, but we don't know what happened to her. You know, we don't know if she's alive or, you know, if he, you know, harmed her or, you know, if he, you know,
Well,
did whatever.
Well-
But, you know, these parents that don't want to speak up, they're not doing their children any justice. They're not doing
They need
anybody
to put
any
them in
justice.
jail too. They need to hold them accountable and put them in jail too for, you know, holding the evidence and not telling. I don't care if it's their child. I mean, what they did, they're just going to go on through life and they're going to do this again. Or they're going to make bad choices or it's going to come back on them. I mean, I believe in karma. And
I do
these
too.
parents, I'm like you, Michelle. I mean, it's wrong because they could prevent this from happening.
Right, they could have stopped Tiffany from going missing.
Well, even if the parents didn't know, like some of the people, because my son was over 18, and he would go places, and I didn't know the people that he hung out with sometimes. Even if the parents don't know, these children know. And if you know something and you're running in the same circles of people and you're hiding secrets for them, don't think that it won't happen to you, because if they didn't care about my son, they're not going to care about you when it gets down to it.
No. And Lana, them parents.
Justice, there is just as much danger as my son was, and they don't
and
even
Lana,
know
them
it.
parents know what happened to Austin. Them ones that's holding for them kids, they know.
Well, I
And
know
what kills me is they can look you in your eye. What kills me is they knowing that you had a son and they can look you in the face and lie. I don't understand how they, like he said, how can they sleep at night?
Yeah.
My thing is, this town is very, very small. And
everybody knows everybody.
Exactly. Like, everybody knows everybody's business in this town. If you do anything around this town, you best believe your neighbor and 300 of their friends is going to know what's going on. But yet, when it comes to something like this, when people really need answers, when we really need to know, hey, what's going on, everybody wants to keep their mouth shut. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Exactly. And that's why I told Lana, I said, now that I know me and her talking in private, and that's our private conversation, I'll let Lana be the person to talk about that. You know, I'm not going to talk about that because that's what we talked about. But I have told her several times, I will use my influence and my name and whoever's name I have to use to get justice, not just for my son, but her son, because like I said, I don't see how people sleep at night, but if all this stuff is being covered, but this stuff is being covered up, there's more stuff that's happened. That's the same group that's done stuff to our kids, and it continues to happen. And us parents, we got to speak for our children, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to help her and do whatever I can do.
Yes, we do, and they don't realize that their children is in danger too. There's another young man that doesn't live too far from here that has been missing, actually, I think a little longer than Austin. And he's run with the same crowd of people. And the bad thing is, whenever your child tells you something, and, you know, sometimes you're kind of busy, or you say, well, I can ask them tomorrow. Well, my tomorrow never came. When my son told me the last time I seen him, is they're all family and they're all crazy. I had no idea how much family is in this town, because it starts from the little thugs on the street all the way up to the judges here, through the departments, just all the way up. Sheriff's Department, Police Department, the mayors, is that small.
But like I told you now, my family, you know, we got a lot in that part, but I promise you one thing about my side of the family is we believe what's right is right and wrong is wrong. And I don't care if you're my third cousin, my first cousin, my brother, my sister. If you in the wrong, I ain't going to cover your tail.
And
that's just me.
I honestly don't.
And the same people have gotten away with this, and they'll do it again. There's going to be more missing people, more missing kids that's hanging out with this group of people.
Yeah, that's why we got to get it out there, and we can't stop. We can't let it die. We got to keep it going.
Yes, ma'am.
I added another caller. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, that sounds...
Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I am Austin's baby's grandmother. I'm Cashland's grandmother.
Hi. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to say, you know, I talked to this kid. He was in prison for like a year, and he called me every day about his baby. That's why, you know, whoever done this is just, I'm telling you, karma is going to get them. Amy had to live with this 4-year-old every day that wants her daddy or sees her daddy in heaven. Yeah, I'm done. She's beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you. She's not milk with it, too. She's pretty like her daddy. Yeah, she got that big smile like him. She does. She's gorgeous. You need to put her and dance with me. We'll talk about that another time, though. But somebody needs to, you know, they need some kind of closure here.
And like I said from the beginning, the first one that talks gets to walk, because it will. Everything always comes to light.
Yeah, in the dark, it's going to come to light.
It will be told. If more than one person was involved, you can bet it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow. It could be 10 years from now, but it's going to come out. And because you hid what you knew and you were there when it happened, they're going to charge you just like they do everybody else. Yeah, they can best believe that if they think that their other little friends ain't going to tell on them to save their own hide, they're dead crazy. They will. They do it every time.
They're going to sing like a canary.
Just wait till one of them gets in trouble and wants to get themselves out of a situation, and they're going and watch what happens.
Yeah, they're going to say, hey, well, y'all remember that case 3 years ago? I know something about it. Hey, y'all cut me a deal.
Exactly. Yep.
All I got to say is Austin was, and I'm not just saying this because every mother will say their child had the, you know, the best personality and that they were just beautiful inside and out. But Austin was, and God don't like ugly.
No, he does not.
Harm good people that have a good heart that would help you. You're the ones there stabbing them in the back, and they're trying to help you up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But hey, just think about it. They're going to get down one day. I've even seen people dying on their deathbed and coming back saying, God, please forgive me. You remember something that happened years ago? I was involved in it. You know, you don't never know. But like he said, something's going to happen, and somebody is going to, it's going to take them saying, they might get drunk one night and just be bad talking and say, hey, let me tell you what happened, what I did or something, and somebody's going to hear them. But they got to come forward with it. They can't just hold on to it.
And they'll turn on each other because they're all holding the same secret. It's just a matter of who's going to talk first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it sounds like they're all holding several secrets.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. Like I said, there's another boy that's missing in the next town that do the same people, that run in the same circles. And just like Miss Tatum, I believe with her, well, I know that her son was around, had ended up with some of the same people that knew my son.
Yeah, and they left my son, literally, I don't know if Michelle knew it, my son got in a fight. They said he fell from a barn. They left my son laying there for dead for 12 to 14 hours, stood over him, changed his clothes, watched him as he was dying, would not call 911. Somebody took one little girl that got scared, and she found out about it, and she told her mama, if it weren't for her, my son would be dead. And he had the biggest hematoma they'd ever seen. But these people, I know the truth, and I've had some people that come forward, but then they want to back up their story and be like, no, I don't want to talk to the lawyer, or no, I don't need to talk to the police. I'm scared of this guy. I'm like, well, you know what? Somebody's going to talk, or somebody's going to say something, because I'm not going to quit till you talk.
Right, and that's what our new page is about. You know what I mean? Trying to help families like yours and, you know, Austin's family and friends try to get answers. You know what I mean? We all have to stick together. And, you know, if it means that, you know, there's a way that we have to, like, get laws changed or whatever, you know, because, I mean, like I said, it sounds like all of these cases are, like, connected with the same people. So whoever comes out of this, whoever gets in trouble and comes out of this, they're going to be singing like a canary to get their butts out of trouble. And, you know, there's like three cases that they could possibly give information on.
And those children are also that circle. Whenever they go against, one of them stands out and goes against the other one, their life is in danger too. Because right now they got away with it, and they'll try it again.
Exactly. And what kills me is I was telling Lana, they'll say stuff like, well, don't take the law in y'all's own hands. Well, you know what? I think me and Lana's done pretty good not to do that, because if we done something, then they would lock us up, and then who would be there for the family? You see what I'm saying? But here they're telling us to just sit back and let them do their jobs. And I'm not saying, now I got a lot of good law enforcement, there are some good ones. There's some bad ones and there's some good ones. But here's the thing. As mothers, we can't sit back. We've got to get out there and do it ourselves as well, because we've got to be able to sleep at night knowing, okay, today did I give 110%? You know, maybe tomorrow it'll be better, you know? I mean, it's just people don't realize. I mean, I can't even realize what she's going through, because I do have my son. Now, he's fighting every day, you know, he's trying to walk, you know, he was a big athlete, but it's still, we know what it's like to lose a part of ourselves. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And I've watched, you and I just became friends on Facebook, but I've been watching the videos of your son and, you know, looking at your pages, and, you know, he's really come a long way, you know, and he's fighting every day.
He really is a miracle, and you know, when they told me, you know, they wanted me to pull the plug from day one, and I wouldn't do it. I said, no, if God wanted him to come with him, he would have done it down there. He wouldn't have let that baby lay there that long, and it kept him alive. You know, I believe that God has the final say-so, you know, and like Austin, I believe Austin's in a better place, but I believe that Austin can't be fully until his family and his friends have closure, because you can't rest till you know what happened.
No, because it's like time has stood still for me. I'm still back in 2017. And I believe that God has brought us together, not just today.
I believe that every day. But I believe that. We're going to the candlelight, you know, and seeing the people, and me and you talking, and me and Taryn talking, and then I see some of the people, I ain't going to name names, that might have showed up there. It was with the same little clan. And I think they know. Deep down, they know we own to them. They know we own to them. But the thing is, they've got to make their presence known, because they got to feel like, well, maybe if I show up here, I do this, or I hug Tatum's neck at the store, or I see Lana over here, that we don't know, honey, that they don't know us very well, because I know everything, and you know everything. We just got to put it together. We got to put the puzzle together.
And we will.
And then we can put it in the frame.
We're wired like that. I will not stop. I will not stop until my son is found and he has justice. And even then, I will not stop for the other innocent people.
Me neither.
I mean, because you can only fathom, like, I don't even know what to say. You can't even put that into words. I have no words for it.
And one thing, I know you know this, Lana, being in your situation as I am, to walk in a grocery store or Walmart or a convenience store and see them riding around and having their little teenage lives, and their, you know, or their middle 20 lives, like they're just somebody, you know, they're riding around, they're drinking, they're going to parties, going here, going there, and
well, they
what about our
got away with something, but I won't.
Yeah, they took it away from our kids. You see what I'm saying?
Mine too. And I will not rest. So if they think that it's going to go away, it's not.
You see these people in stores and stuff, and you know that they know something, and they look at you and they just smile in your face, and that's what makes you so mad. You know,
but that's okay because that's their that's their karma.
And anybody knows for me to bite my tongue like that with somebody smiling at me, God has just put a big old shield over me because you just don't know how many times I wanted to rearrange a store, but I don't do it because that's what they want me to do.
But it's hard not to. It's hard not to.
It is. It is. You know? But you have to because if I reacted to the things that I would like to, I would never find my son. That's what they want. They want you to be in jail somewhere. You're no better. If you react and hurt somebody, you're no better than they were.
Right.
No, we're better than them.
I'm not going to. I'm going to let the law and God take care of them because one thing for sure, I believe.
Like you said, if one of us was to do something to one of them, we're going to lock them up. But
their parents would make sure of it.
We know that the police know some of the people that's involved, and they know they've had something to do with it, but they act like they can't do nothing.
They can't. They can't.
You know?
That's why laws need to change. People need to come together.
And that's what I was talking with Lana about, that I had spoke with one of my attorneys about it, you know, about going and changing laws, not just in Georgia, in the whole state, you know, just everywhere. It needs to be everywhere in the United States where certain laws need to be passed. Also, to me, another law, which it kind of has to do with mine, but them pulling the plug on kids when the parents are saying no, that's another law. I mean, there's a lot of laws that need to be changed dealing with kidnappings and missing people and kids getting hurt and them not being able to arrest them for certain reasons. They need to be able to, excuse my language, but bust their ass, and that's what needs to happen.
And if I'm hanging out with somebody and the next day that person comes up missing, they're going to lock me away forever until they find out what happened. But they don't feel like they're doing it, you know, in this case.
So let me tell you, when a person goes missing, especially if they're over 18, and they're just missing crucial hours, minutes, days, months go by. That's what needs to change, because I believe if they would have got out there and looked for my son instead of telling me, oh, he just ran in the woods, he'll be back in a week, I would have my son. I would know where he was.
Well, and another thing, these kids think after 3 years that nothing can happen. That's a lie, too, because it don't matter how many years goes by. There is evidence that can be found, and there's stuff that can be done now that couldn't be done years ago.
There is no limitation. There is no... Murder is murder. Whether you committed that murder...
statute of limitations, there's not none for capital murder.
No.
Well, I mean, that's just like, you know, the other case that you were talking about a while ago, Tatum, with Terry. I mean, they finally had a conviction, what was it, 23 years later?
Well, they did have a conviction in our family, but our family's kind of tied into that case because my daddy, he won't talk about it because the other family member, it's hard. These two were like brothers, and it was over a girl. But all I will say about that case is it's hard for me to believe all of a sudden he said, okay, I did it to somebody drunk, you know, that he didn't know, because I knew this was my cousin too, and I know him. So I think that whoever did it, I think the way the mom did it, she planned it. Does that make sense? Like, she never got indicted for it. And I believe she was the one that had something to do with that case. That's what everybody believes. You know, they were fighting over a girl, and that's what's stupid. But, yeah, they did finally convict somebody, his first cousin.
I just seen a show on the IT channel a couple of days ago about that too.
But
yes, that was about our family. Yeah,
around here works.
Okay.
I mean, that's how.
That's why y'all didn't see. That's why nobody's seen my daddy or me or anybody on there, because, you know, like, I'm the type of person. Lana will tell you this from talking to her. If I believe somebody did something, I will stand up 110%, because with Lana's case, I'm pretty well, with our conversations, I pretty much know who did that, you know, and we pretty much do, and with my son as well. But with this case, there was just a lot of lack of evidence. Does that make sense? And it was just a lot of years, and I think that the people who really needed to be indicted for it didn't get indicted. They were just, the ones that caused it, that caused all the, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's back to where the laws need to be changed.
That was my point.
They convicted him without a body or anything.
That's what I was about.
Well, wait a minute, Jimmy, and let me tell you, they can. And you could bet your bottom dollar that if these people think that the detectives don't have anything and they don't know anything, they're very wrong.
Right.
Oh, very wrong.
Well, and
they'll hold on it. They'll sit on it.
Yeah.
I've seen detectives sit on stuff for 5 and 10 years and just kept mounting up, and then they had a big break, and they said, all right, they take it to the district attorney, and not being mean about our district attorney, but he needs to go somewhere. But once we get a good one appointed in there, once they take it to a DA and they say, here's the case, he has to look at it, and he says, okay, well, I think we got enough evidence, or I don't. Now, this DA here is lazy. That's why he's in a lot of trouble. But I think, like, when Brad was in there, or we get another DA in there, it'll be different. They're going to want to prosecute a case like this. You got to have one that's got the stamina and want to do something. You know what I mean?
And they will. And they do have evidence.
Yeah.
And
that was my point about bringing up the, Terry Rouse thing, because that's how I know the system works.
It's been, God, it was 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was, they got a conviction 20 years after the fact, and they got a conviction on hearsay. It wasn't, these people that are keeping quiet and not saying anything and putting his parents and his family and his daughters through hell all of these years. Like y'all said, God don't like ugly, and I know my God.
No, it is
my God hears prayers. My God hears prayers, and the Bible clearly says you will reap what you sow. And I fully believe that if God has not exposed who has done this yet, there's reasons behind it, and He's got dang good reasons. And
it could be they're doing something else too, and He's wanting them exposed for everything.
Yes.
I know that's what my God hears my prayers, and it will come
He
out.
does.
And it's not if, it's when. And when it does, I can promise you, because Lana, Jimmy, Bessie, and all of them, since the day I met Austin, has been family to me. And I can promise you, I know that family, and I will stick beside them through everything. It won't stop.
And I'll be right there with y'all.
Well, can I say one thing, too? These kids, what it is these, I should say young adults, first of all, they're all in trouble all the time. They're in and out of jail. They're on drugs. And they think they're smart. But you're not going to outsmart the law. The law will always get you. You wasn't a paid assassin and, studied how to kill people for years and just went.
So you were a druggie and done an idiotic thing.
You just went and done something on the spur of the moment, and you think that you've outsmarted the law. But I just want to say something to any of them that's listening. Don't think they don't know, and don't think you're not going to get caught, because you are not that smart. You can't even stay out of jail on drug charges. So you think you're not going to get caught on a murder charge?
And half of them ain't even 75 years old. They're young kids, so they know they're not smart enough.
No.
So they think they are because they're kids. You remember being 12,
but they need to come forward,
25.
and they need to talk now. They need to talk now. They've held it in long enough. Do what's right. It's never too late to do what's right. You can't undone what you did, but you can ask God for forgiveness and come forward and be like, look, I've seen this happen. I've been scared. Can you please help me? Come forward. Say something. Because I'm telling you,
they need to, because if they think they're scared not to tell it, wait till those same crew is running after them, trying to kill them, and so you think you're safe by not saying?
Yeah, and they're gonna talk, so they're gonna get them out of the way.
Well, like they say, you can either be a witness or you can be a suspect. Either one. So
Yep.
You know, it's up to you to decide which one you want to be. So.
Well, Lana,
anyway,
I think we thought we just
enough on that.
We just need to, me and Lana, we need to stick together, all of us, and we need to keep this alive and just keep sharing it. And like we're talking now on a podcast, we need to go. Like one of my lawyers said, we need to go on the news. We need to go, and just keep on. Somebody's going to break.
Tatum, you've seen that I've done that. I won't let it rest. It's on the news. It'll be on the news again. I will be here.
Right.
They need to worry about getting caught, what they need to worry about. Because I'm not going to quit. I'm a mother. And if any of those young people have children, they need to think about, what if it was your child? Would you stop? No. I'm not going nowhere. I'll put up more billboards. I'll put on more news. I'll go in front of, up there, in front of the courthouse. I'm not going away. I'm wired that way. I'm a mother looking for her
We're
child.
both like that. We're both headstrong and we're mamas.
I go to bed at night. Every time I eat, I think, oh God, where's my son? Is he eating? When I go to sleep at night, I think, is my baby laying out there alone and cold? While I'm in this poor bed?
I can't imagine that part, Lana. I can't.
I was telling
terrible.
somebody the other day when I was talking about him. As a parent, I could not imagine going through what Austin's parents are going through, and especially a mama. And I mean, honestly, any mother that's listening, waking up every day, not knowing where your child is, not knowing, this is 3 years. This is not a couple weeks. This is not a couple months. Like, this is 3 years of her waking up every morning, not knowing if her child is even dead or alive.
I know.
This is a child that she has raised for 24 years. He would be 27, but for 24 years, every day of her life, as a mother, her life revolved around her child.
Exactly.
I would much rather be physically tortured every day than to have to wake up and deal with the thoughts and the images that she's having to.
And
laying her head down.
How she is Corey the other night. That's another thing. I'm sorry,
how she is not in a mental institution, just come crazy, can't say a word. I don't understand.
And I want to tell you this, and I haven't, I have my son, but every day people ask me, Tatum, you're so strong. Tatum, you see me break the other night, Taryn. I broke over some idiot saying something to me that didn't even have nothing to do with Joseph. But I was to the breaking point of, I've been going through this a year and a half. January will be 2 years. But every day, you have to get him up. You got to, tell him, son, you're going to get better. It's going to be better, But I got him here. So I tell people all the time, I'm blessed because he's here. Imagine if he wasn't here. I can't imagine what Lana's going through. People don't realize that. I'm still blessed every day.
You go to town. People will stop you. Have you found your child yet? Or they'll just look at you funny. Like, there's the lady with the missing son. Because this town is so small.
Well, you're one hell of a strong woman, Lana, and I look up to you, admire you very much.
I don't have a choice.
And see, I do too. People don't understand that. They're like, well, how are you so strong? I'm like, when you ain't got a choice, you don't realize how strong you are.
What?
No.
We can't break. We can't break down. We have our moments. Taryn see me the other night I broke down because I was so mad I wanted to rip somebody's head off that said something to me. It was a lie, but I just, you get to them points where my husband sees me break a little bit, but I'm strong. But people say, oh, Tatum, you need to cry more. Well, I can't let him see me cry because then he thinks, well, why is my mama crying? I'm always like,
you got to be strong for him.
Yeah, because I got to motivate him. Come on, Joseph, let's do it. He says I'm a drill sergeant. He'll tell my mama, or he'll tell her, he'll say, Nene, Mama has to go to therapy because you're too easy on me. Mama's a drill sergeant. But hey, it's working.
It is working. I've seen the progress.
Yeah, and he prays for Austin. It's so sweet. He prays for you. I told him when I was doing the night, he says, Mama, he said, I pray they get justice for him. He said, I would rather them get justice for him before they get it for me. I said, why do you say that, son? He said, because I'm here. That just melted my heart. He was like,
that is an innocent child praying to God, and there are so many people praying for Austin that if these people think that they're not going to be found, oh, believe me, they will. They already are, actually. They're just going to make the wrong move, and that's all it's going to take.
And that's why God brought us together, because we don't realize that our cases is a lot more similar and a lot more involved, just alike than what we thought.
Tatum, can you imagine your son is as bad a shape as he's in, and he's talking to God, and he's not asking God to heal him. The first thing he says is, I pray that boy finds justice, and I pray that they find him. So tell me that they're not going to find him.
Yeah, they're going to find him. Joseph has a big heart. He's like your son. He has a big heart, and he always thinks of everybody before him. Like I had a cousin that had cancer. He prayed for them to heal her. I said, well, son, let's pray about you. He said, I am, Mama, but I got to pray for them first because they're a lot more sicker than I am. I mean, he amazes me with that, and his faith in God is so big. I mean, he tells me all the time, but God helped me, Mama. He saved my life, Mama. God did.
No, not right now.
Yeah.
So God's going to bring mountains down.
Talking away. I don't know if anybody wanted to say anything else.
We're going to find him, Mona. We're going to find what happened.
Yeah, it's not going away.
Well, I appreciate y'all putting me on this conference call and us getting both stories out there.
But how many more kids are going to come up missing from this circle before something is done? The parents that knows that their children are running in these same circles need to stop and think that it could be their child next.
Yep. Right. And they need to quit being enablers, enabling them every time they get a drug charge or something. They need to quit picking them up from the jailhouse. I got in fights back in my day. My daddy picked me up one time, and he told me, he said, if you don't start it, if you finish it, then I'll pick you up. But if I find out you started it, which back then most people, they knew better. Back then when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
But this is one thing I can't stand, is a druggie. But let me tell you about this. I see so many people that has been on drugs that has got help, and they've stood by. But I've seen these ones now, when it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and they don't want to get help. You got to have, what I mean by saying I can't stand druggies is what, like back in my day, I tried drugs. Everybody has tried drugs. I don't care, most people have. But ones that get help. But these parents out here enabling these kids and saying, well, he didn't mean that he was on drugs. He's trying. He's going to get better. No, they're not going to get better until they hit rock bottom and they say, I need help. And I see so many people that have been on drugs and turned their lives around. My husband used to do them, and look where he's at. You got to want to.
Let me butt in on that, because that's how I wasn't going to go into all of that, but the door's been open. So I met Austin when I was that off. And
but she turned her life around there.
Before I say anything, that alone is the reason I think why law enforcement has not took this case serious. Because in their eyes, it's, well, we got another drug addict off the streets. But I've seen Austin. Thank God, I've been sober for almost 5 years, and so I walked through hell with Austin every day. I know exactly what Austin was living. And I seen Austin the week before he went missing. And Austin was wanting different this time. Austin knew he had a baby out here this time. Austin
But he was a good kid though. He wasn't one of them druggies that just No, y'all know what I mean by druggie, like the meth heads that don't act like
and
they.
you know what?
Yeah.
A lot of young people want to feel like they fit in somewhere. And that's another thing I was going to say. Austin thought these people were his friends.
Exactly. That's different though. Like he took care of his kid. He loved his kid. What I'm talking about druggies is these ones around here that don't have nothing to do with their kids. They steal from people. They do. He didn't do all that.
No.
Oh, and it doesn't. And here's the bottom line. I don't care if he was shooting dope the day that he died. He's still a person, and he's a human being, and he's still your son.
Exactly. And still has family that want him.
And it doesn't matter. He's still a human being, and he counts for something.
Exactly.
He meant something. So I don't care. That's another thing.
He's still somebody's dad.
And that's one of the. I'm glad you said that, Karen, because these law enforcement officers sometimes they look at these cases and they're like, oh, well, he was in trouble, or he did this, or he did that, or she did this, or she was a prostitute, or you know what I'm saying? And I don't care.
It don't matter.
Bring you
it's
hope.
a human being.
We don't care about that. Exactly. We don't care about that. And, we need to, all these missing persons cases and all these murders, I mean, we have a case, too, that, there was 2 young teenage boys that got ran over by a car here right by where I live. 18 years ago it's been. And they haven't convicted anybody of it. And why not? Like, all these cases need looked at harder. They need pushed harder. We're getting tips now for that case. Like, unbelievable. We need to have awareness. We need to keep speaking up. We need to go to our senators and our governors and our state reps and everybody else and say, look, this is what we need to change. These are the things that we see where, these officers need more education, or they need to be able to do this, or they need the ability to do that. Like
the first thing they need to be is not related.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. My son
you're
didn't grow up. He didn't go to school here, and didn't grow up here. So, and then, when they got the missing persons case, some of the people that were working on the case and I'm not saying nothing wrong. I mean, I'm sure they did their job, but they're going to be impartial to their family. They're going to assume instead of facts and looking and digging, they're going to just assume, no way would my cousins do that, or my cousins.
That's right. But a lot of people don't realize this too. There's a difference between a druggie and someone who's done drugs. A druggie is somebody to me that has been on for so many years that don't want help. And then there's somebody who's done drugs, like I've done them back in my early 20s. Taryn's done them, I've done them, Austin's done them. And I think Joseph even tried pot before. You know what I'm saying? It's something that we do. We try. But to me, a druggie is somebody, these 40-year-olds now that I went to school with has been doing them for 20 daggum years. They don't care about nobody.
And trying to hang out with 20-year-old kids.
Thank you. And where do you think these kids got the dope from?
Running around.
And where do you think? Here's the thing. Where was these kids getting the dope from? They need to look into that.
Yes, they do. Yes. And like you said earlier, Lana, we have Tatum, a lot of good law enforcement officers here. Like I can name a handful of them right now. But
we have
like
some bad
Tatum. I was about to say, just like Tatum's life motto, we've got some bad apples on the tree. And
the whole tree ain't rotten, but you got some bad apples you got to pick off.
But if the law enforcement officers worried as much about cases like this, then they do big drug busts that gets their names put out there and it gets them higher rank. because they busted a big drug dealer, then our justice system would probably be getting a lot more done. But that's what we revolve around.
If they look at these drug busts, they might find out information on missing people. Because a lot of times
Right.
a head drug dealer that probably knows more than anybody.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because he probably sold that dope to somebody who done something.
Right. Exactly.
But no, I look up to anybody. But see, I've never heard that about Austin. When y'all told me he did drugs, I never even heard that about it. All I ever heard about him was he had a big heart. He was a funny person. He was very outgoing. They said he acted a lot like me. He was the life of the party.
He was, but see, we're originally from Florida, and as you can see, Tatum, there's not a whole lot to do around here. There's not, and when you try to go and fit in with people, and sometimes you make wrong choices, just like Austin thought that those people were his friends. When that friend is doing drugs with you, and you OD or something, do you think any of them's going to call the law? Or
no, they didn't call law for my son. He didn't even know, you know what I'm saying?
If they're doing any kind of drugs or something illegal and something happens to a child or to anybody, they're going to leave them laying there. They're not going to call the law. The law is the last people they want to see.
Look at, Joseph, Joseph knew I wouldn't have let him hang out where he was hanging out that night. But Joseph, I always told Joseph this. I said, Joseph, there's just as much rich white trash as they are poor white trash. Just one's got money and one don't. You know what I'm saying? And he hung out with everybody. He didn't see color. You know, everybody loved him. But this one particular group down there, I knew what them people were because I knew of her mama. And I knew she was in and out of jail. She was a sorry piece of crap. I knew that. Well, when they got Joseph that night and they snuck out, none of his football buddies was with him. And one of them found out he was going to a party, but he told him, he said, Joseph, don't go. And the thing is, the woman want to say, I think your child's down here after somebody done called my daddy and we called 911. I said, lady, everybody in this town knows who I am. They know who my daddy is. She told them, do not call 911 because my daddy would have every daggum law enforcement agency down there. But you know what got me? I said, why wouldn't you call 911? Everybody makes a mistake. This could have been prevented. He could have been fine. But no, you chose to lie and let my son lay there. What kind of animal does that? How can anybody stand there and watch a kid dying?
And young people are impressionable, and they just want to fit in. Even if
we would have never done that, Lana. When we were younger, we would have never done that.
Fit in. No, and especially in a small town. And that's what I want to say to the other people that might be listening that think that these people are your friends. They're not, because they will leave you laying there to save their own hide. And just like they think that people's not going to talk and tell what happened when it comes down to their own hide, yes, they will.
And all the parents, too, that's listening, all the parents of these kids that's done wrong, that's listening, that think that their kids, they gonna hide them and they gonna get away with it. Well, I'm going to come after them, too, because let me tell you something. They need to be held accountable. That might be their kid or whatever, but they need to raise them right and say, look, you did wrong. You need to face the consequences. You need to ask God for forgiveness. You need to get on your hands and knees and ask him for forgiveness. You need to come forward to Miss Lana or Tatum or whoever's family that you're involved with in this accident or this tragedy that happened, and you need to try to make things right. I know deep down they might never make things right, but they need to try. But these parents holding these kids saying, you know, it's okay, I got your back. I don't understand that. That's not the type of parenting you need to do because God's going to look at you and they're going to have to answer for that.
Well, they're going to have to answer for that. But when it all comes down, their parents aren't going to be able to save them. And I would much rather my child tell the truth and maybe get in a little bit of trouble than when it all comes out and they go to prison for life. I know I worked at a prison, by the way. And I can tell you that is not a place that I want to have a room in. And see my child in. So you're not doing your children any favors. And you can't always help them because when the law does come for them, there's nothing you can really do.
No.
Except for
But what they're doing now is not helping them. And we're going to constantly keep putting pressure on the, on the media, on the, wherever we can. Directly, somebody's going to crack. So if they want to come out now and try to save a little bit of their hide, it would be better to do it now.
Oh, yeah.
Because I won't be private investigating myself now. So I'm just saying, and let me tell you something, a lot of people will tell me things, and I will hear things from people, and when I do, if they don't think that I won't come to you and sing like a canary, they must not know me very well. Because I believe in justice, and I believe to try to do it the right way.
That's another thing, Tatum, that I wanted to touch on. Kari, her son, she did Michelle, Tino. Her son is kind of some of the same circumstances. It's always these circle of friends that you think is your friends. Yeah. But they called that poor woman. That's one thing. If you don't know anything, please don't spread all the bad stuff. I felt so bad.
And don't lie to try to make it go away, because you're just going to make it worse.
But I knew exactly what she was going through, because I've heard some of the same stories with my son. When he went missing, it always involves the same people, but different scenarios. Oh, Austin's in the bottom of a well. Oh, Austin was fed to the gators. I've heard it all. And it's horrible. If you don't know...
Well, I want to say this, if it's okay with you, since I'm on here and they can all hear. Living on Swamp Road my whole life, 39 years of it. If he was fed to gators, I will say this. First of all, it's mighty daggum hot in May or June to be driving. If you don't think, whatever it was, that there ain't going to be somebody that seen something and some kind of sign, there's something. Nothing washes completely away. I promise you that. And if anybody knows Swamp Road and these woods, I'll own land down there. So I'm just saying. Don't think you're running your mouth. Everybody says everybody's in Hamp Mazzell. If there was as many bodies as Hamp Mazzell and low as the river or low as the swamp was at one time, you don't think something wouldn't come up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody knows something, they need to come out with it.
Because people want to feel like they're involved and they want to tell these stories. Tell it if you think that it may be true, but if you don't think the source you're getting it from is actually telling you the truth, please don't start the rumor. Because that's
another thing too, they trying to steer you away from you. They want to make you think, okay, this is what happened. Case closed. It don't work like that. You a mama. It don't work like that.
It don't. But that's the most horrible story. And you don't know if they're true or not. And all you can picture in your head is your child laying there at the bottom of a well, or gators eating them up, or whatever horrific things they want to come up with.
Well, that's just a DOS. If you want to know the truth, to somebody to say something like that.
What, Tatum? They'll say, oh, well, they didn't really check that. Or maybe we led them on the wrong track. Well, you know what? One thing I can say about those detectives, they're not stupid. And guess what? They do know what happened. They're just waiting for the opportunity and one piece of the puzzle to be finally put together, and they're coming out.
And then we can frame it. Like I said, you got to put the puzzle together, but when you finally get to put it in a frame, you know it's done.
Mm-hmm. So all them leads that they think that they're leading people away from what really happened, don't think that the law enforcement ain't one step ahead of them.
Yeah, and you know what? We even one step ahead of them, and that's how I look at it. Because, detectives, people say, well, that's their job. Well, here's the thing I look at. Us mamas, we want to help. They want us involved. You know what I mean? Because it keeps the case alive. Because they do have other cases. And, us being the mamas we are, and we strong-willed, we're not going to quit. And that's why all y'all listening need to realize, and I'm telling you, if my maiden name ain't Thrift, I'm going to tell you something. I will be there with Lana, and I will be there about Joseph and Austin's case, and whoever else wants me to help with their case, and I will not stop till I get justice, because that's what I want to do now. I believe in it, and I believe that everybody has the right to it, and we have got to, as citizens, not of just the United States, but people in this county here, we've got to look out for ourselves and our other parts of our family. And if we don't try to help stop it, who is?
Because some of the same people, their children, they may not even know, is hanging out with the same crowd of people.
And what they don't know, though, is by now, if they don't realize in a small town, when you know 'em, you know 'em. And if I like you, I like you. If I don't, I don't. But I'm like Austin was. I try to see the good in everybody. But now when this has happened, I hate to say it in a bad way, but I've opened my eyes to what happened with Austin, what happened with Joseph, is it sometimes people that will stand, like you said, Lana, to walk up to Walmart or walk up in the store and smile at your face. We know. We might smile back, but in our hearts, we know you POS. We know what you are.
Yeah.
I'm going to prove it, but I can't say nothing to them. But I want them to know that we know.
They will.
We have another caller. I got it. Somebody else just called in. Hello, caller. Okay. Are you there? Hello? Caller, do you want to say something?
I can't hear them.
They're not
I
saying
can't either.
Yes, they're saying
It's just a bunch of static.
Okay.
It's just staticing.
Yeah, I'm just...
They might have a bad connection, maybe.
Might be. I heard static.
Well, if you can hear us, call back, please.
Yeah.
Talk. Try to talk. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, ladies.
No, you're fine.
You're fine. We're just on a roll.
Hey, we from the swamp, and we from South Georgia, and we talk.
And it's hot here.
Hey, you know what? This is good.
And we're mad.
Yeah, we're mad, we're hurt, and we just, you sometimes it just, you get in that talking about it, and you just get amped up. It's like adrenaline. It's just like, dadgum, I want to go out right now and, do something,
Right. And that's how I felt for so long. I looked and I searched and I felt like I should be doing something else, but what? But one thing
I want to go take like my daddy used to say on the swamp, I like to go take a mulberry, how you say it, mulberry bush or whatever it is, and just spin them over my leg and start beating the you-know-what out of them, the one of them caught.
Let me tell you, Tatum, if I've learned anything in what has happened to my son, it has made me stronger. And
oh, yeah, girl. Yeah.
Stop.
I hear that grandbaby.
That's, Lana, that's the reason why We Can Bring You Hope is here. Because, my daughter was gone for 2 years,
No, Michelle, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, I found her, and she's okay, but,
That's a blessing.
It's part of the reason why,
why you started this, and then let me tell you, it's a blessing for me.
It is. God put you to do that. God chose you to do that.
That's what I said. God has put us all together. And, he said, where two or more stand, it will be done.
Oh, yeah.
So, Michelle, if you ever need our help, well, I can speak for myself. I can't speak, but I know Tatum, and I know she'll help, too, and I know Taryn. You need help on any case, on anything, so please don't hesitate to call us.
One of the things that, like I said earlier, we were trying to do, I'm not trying to, roll over your time here, but I'll just real quick, is, and Lana, you and I have talked about this too, we need voices in each state for, how We Can Bring You Hope wants to move forward, and that's going to mean that we need people to bring things, we have petitions that we're going to be writing, to get laws changed, and, then we want to present them, at the Congress, and, so it's not just state legislation. We want national legislation change.
Girl, this girl right here can talk. That's Lana.
for, for so many different reasons. That's why in that, we need people to be active in that new group that we just started, that We Can Bring You Hope, the Justice page, because we need people that are going to, that things that, it's sad to say that things like this have happened to, that can go up and say, this is my case, this is my situation, this is my story, and I'm here to be a voice. And then we can get these things passed, I can think of 100 different laws that need passed.
Yeah. I can also
hey, Lana will tell you, I spoke up, I don't know if you've seen the video, but I'll get, me or Lana can send it to you. It's on YouTube, but I went up to a rally and I spoke, and then I spoke for Lana. Lana was like, hey, Tatum, could you speak for me? There's too many people. I said, girl, I got you. And I forgot and turned around and walked back to the podium and got Austin in there.
Yeah, it's a very overwhelming thing, and that's what I was going to say. I wanted to chime in with about Vivian. She has been a blessing, too, because she's not that far away. She is in Georgia, so you do kind of, when you get more people closer to your home, it's not my hometown, but closer to where you live, there's comfort in that. There's comfort
and me, I mean, I will do whatever. Lana will tell you and Terry, and I'll do whatever if you need me to talk. I mean, my papa and my grandma and my grandpa were judges, so my family has been known. My dad's an author of books, so he does a lot of speaking. So I've done a lot of speaking, and plus, I mean, like, let's say you said, hey, I need you to fly. I don't know if Lana and Terry fly, but me, honey, I'll hop on a plane like tomorrow. I like to travel.
Me too.
I like to travel. They'll tell you that too.
Well, and,
especially if you can try to help other people. Because you've been in their shoes. You can say, I mean, even if it's just support, hey, I'm here. And I don't know exactly how you feel, but I'm on the level of knowing where you've been.
Exactly.
And Vivian has her own story about her brother that, she can speak about. She doesn't have to do it right now, but, whenever she feels comfortable or whatever. But it's all of us are tied into this together in some way. All of these incidents, these missing persons, these murders, these hit and runs, these kidnappings, these sex trafficking, it all ties together. It might not be the same crowd, but it's the same in a different town.
It is. You know what? People are so much on social media that they just see faces and they say, oh, I feel bad for them. But they keep scrolling away from it because it is ugly and it is depressing, and they really don't understand the desperation that these people have.
Yeah, I've been adding a bunch of people. I think you've seen that to Austin's page too.
Yes,
I've been sharing on Joseph's page and saying, hey, I even put it on there tonight. I even did a video and said, hey, listen, I need y'all to go on here at 8 o'clock tonight. Let's get justice for him, and I'll be on there too probably. And I told them they put me on it where I could add people, and I've been adding. I share all the time on. Joseph's got more followers, but that's why I told her. I said we can get him built up just as much,
Right.
Yeah. But I think me, Lana, and Terrence gonna meet maybe one day this week, and I think me and Lana talking about doing some more publicity on this, and maybe getting out speaking, you know what I'm saying, and doing what we need to do.
Yeah, because this is a small little town. This much shouldn't be happening with answers in a town this size.
And if you guys need to, you can use the blog radio thing, I'll let you go in there and host something. You know what I mean? So this is a platform for all of us to use our voice to speak.
Exactly. We appreciate that so much, what you're doing. I really do appreciate it.
Because you have to speak for people that can't.
Exactly. I just don't want no parent or no kid to go through what me or Lana's went through. You know what I mean? Or any of y'all's went through. You know, I want them to understand it can happen. It don't matter how much money you got. It don't matter how popular you are. It does not matter. It can happen to you. My son's was done over pure jealousy. And Lana's, and some of yours sounds like to me, a lot of them were probably jealous of Austin because he was a ladies' man just like my son was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, my son didn't even like that girl, but they were jealous. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what the
we can't help it. God give us pretty young'uns. You know what I'm saying? I can't help that. When God, hey, I tell him all the time when God was passing out looks, he gave me a pretty baby.
Right. Somebody was trying to.
But you can be ugly in your inside. You can be beautiful outside. I tell him that all the time too. I said, son, you got to learn how to act because you can be beautiful on the outside and ugly on the inside. It's just some of them are ugly on the outside and they're ugly on the inside.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think it was Grace that was trying to say something. Yeah.
It's me. I wanna mention this to Lana, and of course y'all can all talk about it. I know it's been 3 years he's went missing, but what about maybe a different kind of poster rather than the black and white? Throw some more memories up for people to see and people to and put some flyers up all around.
I can do one, Lana. I can do one for y'all. If you'll just, if y'all send me some information that you want on it, you know, I do them for my dance studio, so I can do, you know, big posters, you know, whatever. And what you do is you take it to Staples. We can take it there, and I get a big percentage off. But you tell them you want it on color paper, even though it's in black and white, it looks colored.
I did. I put out, well, let me tell you, let me just touch a little bit on this. I went out and had some more posters put up, and Grace can tell you, because I give her some to put around in the stores. And before we could get them all put out, the store closest to where he went missing yanked that dang poster down, said they weren't putting it back up. Now tell me that's not funny.
Well, it's funny too, but you got somebody right here. Well, you got somebody right here on your side that can get things done, and I can have my daddy, if I have to, make a phone call or my lawyer and find out why we can't put that in that store.
Exactly. Well, and two, I want to say that there is a. I was going to say too. This week there'll be something in the paper. The detective, Missy Thrift, I'm sure y'all know her. She got something, again, to run in the paper, so be looking out for it.
Who's doing it, Myra? Is Myra doing it?
I'm not sure. She didn't
Probably
say.
my cousin Myra Thrift, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I'll make you a poster. If you or Taryn will just send me what y'all want on it, like how to word it, like what y'all want in your own words, I'll do it.
And I want to say the people, one more thing, Taryn. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to say it while I can think that what I want to say is the people that are taking these posters down, don't think there ain't a camera in that store, and don't think that law enforcement don't know who you are that's taking them down also.
Well, maybe they should be fined for taking it down.
That's what I was about to say, because when Austin first went missing, I went and printed off about 500, I think it was like 500 posters. And I took some to Miss Lana, and I kept some, and I put them around town and in stores. And certain stores that I put them in, I would go back in, you know, a week later or whenever, and they wouldn't be in there. So, of course, I would ask, you know, did it get ripped down? Did it get wet? Because they would have it like thumbtacked or something. And, you know, do y'all need another one? And they would literally tell me that it was not the store that took it down, because I proved, this is when it was still Flash Foods, it wasn't Circle K, but I even went and had it approved through the office that the posters could hang in there, and to make sure that we didn't have to worry about that. And they told me the store's not taking them down.
No. And I won't mention
it's the people who had something to do with it.
Girl that lived right down the road where he went missing that took one of them down. But anyway.
Piece of. But no, this is what I think we need to do, and I think we need to get up the posters. I'll make you one, make one for Joseph. We need to go in front, and I can get it approved through the city, police, whatever, and they'll come up there too. That way, it'll all be done right. We need to stand in front of the courthouse, or it don't have to be at the courthouse. It can be somewhere else, wherever we want to do it
I'll
at.
stand on somebody's front lawn.
Yeah,
Whose
we need to have. We can do it in my yard. I don't care.
We need to camp out at. I'll go to the judges. We can. Whatever. Let's go camp out on the front yard.
Yeah.
I got some
Well, I can get Daddy to make a phone call and tell him what we're doing. And everything. We can do it here. We can do it at the courthouse, wherever y'all want to. But we'll do it about 3 weeks before we do it. What we'll do is get all the flyers out, and I'll invite everybody that I know. And that's a lot of people. And then everybody y'all know, and that's a lot of people. And then we'll just get the whole daggum town up there and listen. This is what we need to be done. This is the flyers. This is what we're having. Now, and we just tell our story.
Well, see, I want the ones that harmed him to have to look at his picture every day. And I want them to know in their minds that I'm not going to quit. If this ain't going away, this is my child you took, okay? I'm not going nowhere. So I want, every time you walk out into public, I want you to see my son's face. Because I do. Every time I go to the store here, or because this is a small town, there's Austin's mom, there's the lady that her son's missing. I want them to feel what I feel whenever I walk out into public.
Oh, and I know something else. This kind of off subject, but I'm like Lana. If I think of something, I just got an order form for Justice for Joseph T-shirts. Have you ever went up to Sunset and talked to Danny about doing Justice for Austin?
No, ma'am, but I know Miss Grace had some shirts made for Cashlyn and
what it is, it's a fundraiser shirt. But see, people don't understand. This takes money to do what we're doing. It does.
Yeah.
But if you sell these shirts, I'll send you a thing. I'll design him one and see if you like it, and let her see it too, the one that done them, and see if she likes it. Because I want something. His little girl, I might put a little something extra special in there for her, like a bow or something. But to do them, and then I'm telling you, they will sell because we want everybody wearing them shirts when they come up there.
Yes, because this could be anybody's child in this town. These people think, oh, well, I'm well known, so nobody's ever going to harm my child. Let me tell you, somebody will harm your child over $5 or a piece of drugs or just because.
Amen. But what are you and Taryn doing tomorrow?
Whatever you want to do.
Nothing. I don't have anything planned.
Well, what about tomorrow afternoon, maybe after lunch or something? I come. Whose house I'm going to go to? Taryn's or yours?
It doesn't matter.
Joseph will drive us crazy being nosy over here.
Well, that's okay. You might would like to let you know.
Involved.
Oh, he can hear a gnat fart 40 miles down the road.
Well, he might be. That might do him good.
It might, but he don't like to talk about his case. He don't. He knows what happened. He's told me before, but he really gets defensive, and he don't want to talk about it right now. He says, "Mama, when I'm walking, I'll talk about it, but right now, I don't want to talk about it."
No, he doesn't want to keep reliving it, and that's what it feels like.
And then he told me, he said, "Mama, you be my voice," and I said, "Son, that's all you had to say."
Like you didn't even have to ask. That's what I said.
No, I told him. He said, "Mama, you." I told him. I said, "I'm gonna be a person that talks for you. Don't worry about that." So we can figure that out or whatever when we get off here. But we'll do that tomorrow. But I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that poster tonight. If y'all want, y'all send me some information and the shirt.
Okay.
Lana, can that picture that Jimmy? Are you still here? Did Jimmy hang up? Oh, I think
he must have.
On. Jimmy.
He probably fell asleep listening.
Go ahead, Sarah. It's okay. It's okay. You're talking to his mama.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
I'm here.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
do you remember when he first come home and I was on the phone with him and I was talking to him about how fat he was and he was like, man, leave me alone. So I was talking about his cheeks, how him looking like he was storing food in his cheeks. And remember you sent me that. You remember you sent me? He was sitting
The
on
same
Mom's
picture
couch.
on the billboard, Taryn? The billboard that I had made? That's out there by Jerry.
Because I found this picture after you had the billboard made.
Okay.
I think I sent it to you after. But you remember he was sitting on your mom's couch and he was on the phone with me. And he was like, here, I'll just get Dad to take a picture. And you took a picture and sent it to me while I was on the phone with him.
Right, I remember.
Do you remember that picture? That is the best picture of him. It's close up to his face because he was sitting right in front of you, and he has like that pure happy smile on his face.
Yeah.
Well, you have to send it to me, and I can put it in there on a poster.
He's only been home a day or two.
That's what I told Lana. I think he had got home like the day before that because that was when because he said that I think y'all were all over there, a bunch of y'all, because he was trying to get me to come down there, but I just put baby to bed.
Do you still have that? Can you send me?
I'm talking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that just reminded me of he was always smiling. I don't care what was going on, and I used to tell him, Austin, quit smiling. This is not funny.
And every picture I've seen, he's smiling.
But what he was doing was, I think even when he was nervous, whenever he was nervous, he would smile. Like no matter what was going on, he would smile.
Okay, so I'm just gonna switch for just a minute and talk about some memories, I guess. My oldest daughter, her first beauty pageant that she was in, it was out of town, and we had to travel to go to where the pageant was. And Austin, like I said, he was my ride or die. He was right there beside me. My little girl called him Yaya. And we were on the way over there, and my little girl was all dressed up, so we were taking all kinds of pictures. And every picture Austin took, he just had that blank look on his face. And Braylon finally looked at him, and she was like, Yaya, smile, say cheese. And I have the picture. We were sitting in the truck, and I have the picture, and you can tell like it was the exact time she said it. She was like, Yaya, say cheese. She was only like 2 or 3 at the time. And he did just that smile. When that radiating smile. But when you would go to take pictures, he would just when you would go to take pictures, he'd stop smiling. Austin, if there's ever a time you're supposed to smile, it's when the camera's flashing.
That's funny.
Do you still have that picture of him with that pink scarf? With that pink scarf on his neck? Yeah.
Yes, I do. Actually, Mama was over here. It was actually the day that Lana called. It was actually the day that Lana called about this podcast, and but earlier that day, Mom had come over, and we were sitting outside on my porch, and she was like, "Oh, look at this!" And she had got into her old email, and on her old email, attached to her old email was her Google Photos. Well, when she got into her Google Photos, she was showing me all these old pictures, and I was scrolling, looking, and guess what was on there, Jimmy? That dang video.
Oh, man. The one that you made.
You know which one I'm talking?
Yes, I do.
Oh my God, I told her, she gave me her password and stuff so I could get into her stuff and save it. But I sat there and, it's like a 2-minute video, and I probably watched it 30 minutes of it. And it had all of the pictures of, my daughter gave Austin a tattoo, and it's got the pictures on there of Braylon giving Austin a tattoo, and it had all of them.
if you can, will you send me that and also the picture that you were talking about, the one I took?
Yeah, I will.
Karen, you're more than welcome to put those on his page if you like.
I will. There's some that I haven't put on there just for other reasons, but but I've got to get in her Google Photos because the video she couldn't send it, so I've got to get in her Google Photos and save it to my phone through her photos.
That's what makes me so mad, though, when I think about somebody hurt him, because Austin wouldn't hurt a soul. I mean, he was just that type of person.
And I can testify to that, because if there was always for the underdog. If there was a kid in school that nobody else would sit with, he would make friends with them. If there was one person that Austin probably should have laid on my butt sometimes, it definitely should have been me. Because me and Austin, we had some brother and sister fights for sure. But Austin, he would walk away. And I mean, he would literally walk away. I mean, in the heat of an argument, he would look at me and turn around and walk off. And that's kind of like me and my husband. And not many people can do that with me, because when my tongue goes, it goes. And many people.
My husband says Jesus takes the wheel when I start talking.
He trusted people too much. He wanted to be everybody's friend, and he trusted people too much.
Yep. I've done that too.
If there was one person that definitely lit up anywhere he was at, whoever done this, whoever was involved in this, they definitely took a piece of light out of the world.
Yeah, they did.
Because Austin that's what he was. He was the light in any dark situation. He was.
They took it and they took a part of their soul, because anybody that can lay down and not have no remorse, they ain't got no soul.
Nope, they sure don't.
Nope. But I'm going to come over there tomorrow, for real, tomorrow afternoon. Y'all just figure out whose house, whatever.
Well, y'all, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, whatever y'all want to do, however y'all want to do it,
Well, we got y'all come over here, but like I said, I don't want him hearing me talk about his situation,
That's fine.
So
we'll just get together tomorrow. I'll call y'all.
Yeah.
All right.
Shoot, maybe we'll just go have lunch or something.
That's what I was thinking. Food needs to be involved somewhere if y'all are talking around lunchtime.
Oh, heck yeah. About 1 o'clock now. I don't get up too early.
Y'all talking. Well, I wake up before daylight with the kids, but y'all talking about lunchtime, then there needs to be food involved, because Mama's hungry.
Oh, heck yeah. Y'all just text me wherever.
And anybody out there listening that wants to meet us and come help.
Anybody got any information, you could talk with some sense and let us know something.
Anybody that might have any information, just please, if you don't want to call the sheriff's department, you can call the tip line that's here that Michelle's got set up. We can bring you hope. She's got a number. Just leave a tip. Well, like I said for a long time, I can't go back and change what happened to my son. I just want to bring him home. I just need to find my child.
And whoever did this, and if you know whoever did this, you can or you're part of this, you can change the outlook of your future by coming forward and being honest now, because they tend to, not be so harsh on people that stand up and speak up and help get the case closed. It's a whole different story. And you can leave a tip. You don't even have to call that number. You can text that number. You can leave an email. You can call our tip. You can, go on the website and just leave a tip on our tip portal. If you're worried about us tracking you down, that is that I tend to find out that that's the most secure way for people to leave messages, because they know that there's it's not a phone number, it's not an email. It comes through as
exactly. And I've said more times about Joseph too, and Lana I know she feels the same way. If you'll come forward and tell what happened to either one of these kids, if you weren't involved in it, even if you know what happened, I know it might have been 1.5 years or 3 years ago, but I will have more respect for you if you just come forward. Just give us a centimeter, an inch, and then we'll figure out the mile. Just give it to us.
Or something else.
Yes, and you may remain anonymous if you want to. I don't care what your name is.
No.
I don't, at this point, I just want to know where my child is.
Exactly.
I mean, and you may know
thing to me,
or anybody that thinks that they know a little something, and it's not going to be a big something because it is little. Not in this situation. There's nothing that we need any breadcrumbs, anything. I mean, that little piece of information that you think you're holding on to because it's not, something big, or it's not who done it, or, it might just be something you've heard. And
exactly.
Go to Austin, you can message the Justice for Austin page. Miss Lana has full access to that. There's always somebody on there that will read your message, and anytime that I see that there's been a message sent, I'll reply back. I will talk to you. Anything. I mean, if you have any piece of information, little, small, it doesn't matter. Please tell us, because at this point, we need that little bit.
Yeah, and also on mine, but one thing I will say about my case, do not tip me and tell me my child fell from the barn, because that's one thing I will let all these listeners know. I know my son did not fall from a barn. If he'd have fell from that big of a barn, he would have had some kind of, marks on him. Only thing he had was a head injury and his knuckles where he'd been in a fight. So I'm not stupid. The barn was locked.
And let me say,
I don't care if they message Austin's page and tell what happened to Joseph, or if you want to message Joseph just for Joseph and tell me what happened to Austin. We'll make sure one of us finds it.
But one thing, Tatum, is these boys run in a circle. And there's always one or two girls involved.
Yep.
And in this circle. And they like to fight.
Yep.
Evidently. Because
they don't like to get beat. They don't like to get beat. They fight dirty.
Listen to some other people, just like in Kari. I know y'all don't know Kari, Michelle and them do. Just like in her case. I don't care. It's that they were in a fight. They were fighting with people that they thought were their friends, and somebody lured them to where they were fighting.
My son was lured.
So-called friends. And this town is small, and these circle of people will continue to do this in their own group. Yep. It'll be somebody else's child in that group next.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be that way. If somebody would speak up now, it won't be that way, because you're going to save some other mother the heartache that I've been through, the heartache that Tatum's been through. This town is small. It's the same groups of people. And if the parents that are listening don't think that their child isn't running around with it, not my child, because a lot of people are blind. They'll say, not my child. He would never do that. Then he doesn't hang out with them people. You don't know that. This is a small town, and these kids have nothing to do. But
everybody.
Ever with these people. And because they've gotten away with it for so long, something's going to happen again. I hate to say that, but it's going to continue to happen. Until somebody sticks up, and these people are put where they belong.
Well, it's just like 3 years ago, your life changed. 1.5 years ago, mine changed. We can't get that back. But we can move forward.
It's the same kind of people.
Yep.
The same crowd of people. This town is so small.
It is.
That there's other people's kids are hanging out with these same groups and may not even know it. Right. Until it's too late, until you're hunting for your child.
They don't realize it. They won't till it's too late unless they listen now.
Right.
And when your child says something that doesn't add up or doesn't make a whole lot of sense, don't think that you have later on, after supper, or tomorrow whenever I'm not working and I'm not busy and I can sit down and I want to question you about these things that don't make any sense that you're telling me, because I didn't get that chance. Tomorrow never came for me.
They don't get that. They don't understand it.
When my son said that somebody pulled a gun on him from over there the night before, I should have just stopped. But I didn't. I thought, no, that sounds crazy. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But I didn't have tomorrow. And I didn't know that at the time.
And it wasn't your fault, though, Lana. They were just bad people.
No, it's not.
Right, that's not your
I
fault.
know, but I just want anybody that's listening, if you see your child and they're telling you things that don't make any sense, or you're seeing these boys around and you can't figure out, just stop. Whatever you're doing, there's nothing else more important than you may not have tomorrow to talk to them about it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I just can't get, no, I'm not sorry, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to.
And you have every right to be mad as hell.
No other mother in this town to go through this.
Well, if they'd listen and quit saying, not my child, then they would understand.
The sad thing is, I don't think they will until it is their child.
Well, you know what? You can say I done everything to warn them.
Right.
Just like them parties that was thrown where Joseph got hurt. They're still throwing the parties. They don't think I know that. But if y'all listen, I know that. They're just not throwing them down there. But don't think people won't tell us where they're at.
Right.
Yeah, when their child.
And the mothers buy the alcohol for these 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
But whenever their child makes somebody in that group of people pissed off at them, it's going to be their child that they get next.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I'm not scared of nobody. I'm not scared of nothing. The hell I've been through, I've been through my hell.
Yep. You've been through your hell on earth, and you ain't scared to go through nothing else.
Right.
So if they won't speak up because they're scared, let me tell you, there's worse things than being scared.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, one of them that hurt my son that I know he was the one that did it. He had the nerve to tell another friend to tell my son when he woke up that he fell riding his dirt bike. I said, well, I'm going to tell you this like this right now. Why don't he come tell his mama that?
Because
Mama knows. The mama knows. She even told somebody that she knows her son hurt my son. Well, what kind of mama are you? Now, he's went out and hurt other people, put them in hospitals. But, you know, whatever, she just keeps showing up to his court hearings. She keeps showing up. She's an enabler. Well, she's a piece of, you know what?
Looking at him when he's behind bars for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Did you help your child then? I mean, what did you help? What did you accomplish?
She didn't accomplish nothing. She's an enabler, and she just continues to do it. His brother's in jail now because he's in a gang. We talked about that. I ain't going to say their names on there, but people know I know who it is, you know.
And we know the gang.
Yeah, and what I wanted to know, the funny thing about the gang is when the cop pulls out the gun and says you're under arrest, he starts crying like a little baby. Well, you ain't big and bad now, are you, buddy?
Tell on somebody, and guess what? All of them are like that. They're like a pack of dogs. Yep. They can't do nothing unless they got the rest of them around.
He gonna get mad because he didn't get one.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And whenever they'll start turning on each other, well, they already have. You know, my son had these so-called friends.
And I can say this, and I'm just saying this because I haven't spoke out about it since all of this. But like I said earlier, I walked through hell with Austin, and there's plenty. There's I can name very, very few that was a so-called friend to Austin back then. And if you're listening and I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry, but I hadn't seen your face since all this has been going on.
I ain't sorry. I ain't sorry for none of them.
And
Like they all
those friends that you think's friends, they're not friends because
No, they're not.
I'll go ahead and let you
I've
know.
had some of them reach out to me about Joseph, and I've heard them tell stories through other people, but then when I needed them to come forward and tell some, where did they go? They didn't go nowhere.
So I will say this, that a friend is somebody that whether they're around or out of sight and out of mind does not exist with a true friend. And I will say this, I had met Miss Lana probably a handful of times before all of this happened with Austin, but I know how Austin felt about his mama, and I know how much Austin loved his mama. And since all of this has happened, since he's went missing, I worry about Miss Lana just as much as I do my own mama.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know that was Austin's heart. And these friends, and if you're a teenager listening, or if you are in that kind of life and living around those people, they don't care about you.
No, they don't.
And they don't care about your well-being. They don't care about you,
Your mother
at all.
They don't care.
And
No, and they need to ask themselves, do they want to be known as someone who did drugs and changed their life, or do they want to be a 40 or 50-year-old druggie that's been doing them their whole life?
I mean, it makes
They can change their life, but they got to want to.
It makes me red hot angry, and there is very little that tests my Jesus these days. There is very little that makes me, that literally I have to stop and think, okay, Jesus, you got this, I can't do it. But it pisses me off how much love Austin had when he was here, but yet now that he's gone, he's got a child that's going to grow up, and all the memories she's going to have of her daddy is pictures, and he's got a mama and a dad and a grandmother and a brother that walk around every day with nothing but memories, and you can't even be a big enough friend to pick up the phone and say, hey, I was thinking about Austin, I decided to call you and see how you're doing.
Exactly.
Like,
They know
that
other
pisses me
friends
off.
ain't around because they're not friends. But you know what, though? One thing's for sure, and we know this group of people, hell, the whole town does. They stay in and out of trouble. I bet you those damn detectives know more about them than their own mother does. So if they think that they got away with this, they ain't got away with shit.
No. They mess with the wrong mamas, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Because I'm not going away. And I'm not afraid of none of them. Okay? I may say my worst fear. They have yet to face theirs.
Guys, I got to get off. I got to go. He's in there hollering, want his medicine. But thank y'all for putting me in. And y'all text me tonight now, and I'll do that flyer and all.
Okay. I'll
sure
send
will.
you that picture.
And hey, thank y'all for including me.
Yes,
Thanks
Tatum.
for participating. We appreciate it.
All right, and I'll help y'all any way I can.
Love
All
you,
right,
Tatum.
thank you. All right, love y'all.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.
No.
Why did they hang up? They haven't talked to you later?
There's more people in here. Yes.
We can. Do you want to add anything else, Lana, or I don't know
Yeah,
how you want
I do actually.
Okay. Good.
These
You have,
people are
I
so
just wanted
silly.
to tell you that we have like an 11-minute warning, so I'm just letting you know.
Okay, well, it won't take me but a minute to say this.
No, I mean, that's
a lot
fine.
of
You
them
can take 11
probably
minutes.
don't
So
know
I don't care if you take 11 minutes. I just was letting you know.
Yes. Okay. They don't know. What a lot of them don't know is I talked to Austin the last time I talked to him, and he told me everything that was going down.
Right.
And some of them in that group may not know it, but it's not hearsay. That comes straight from his mouth.
Right.
So, people don't just disappear. The girl says, I met her on a Thursday, her and her brother. I won't put no names out there. They know who. Everybody's a small town. Everybody knows. Met them on a Thursday. My son called me at 9:30 at night after earlier in the day of meeting them. He called me at 9:30 at night and said, Mom, come get me, and he was frantic. I drove over there. Well, I didn't know where he was. I said, stay on the phone with me and let me find out where you are. He said, I'm at that girl's house, and I'll tell you how to get here. Come to find out, she lived exactly 2.5 miles from my house. I went there and picked him up, and he took off running to my car. Scared to death. He jumped in my car, and we started home, and he said, Mom, her brother pulled a gun on me. And I said, oh, God, why would he do that? And he said, I don't know, Mom. He looked at me. He said, I looked at him funny. Well, I'm listening, but it's not making a lot of sense. So I thought, well, I'll question him more tomorrow when I get off work. Well, that never came. And then there was text back and forth on a Saturday from her and him, and he was saying things like, I thought you had my back. And she says things like, well, if I'd have known you were in that much danger, we'd have left earlier.
And can I just add that
her and her mother were standing there when I went over, when I realized my son was missing. And I pulled up and I said, where's my son? This girl proceeded to tell me that my son smacked her and just run in the woods. Okay, I know my son. He's terrified of spiders. He would never just run in the woods unless somebody was chasing him. Okay, he's not. I know, tell this to somebody that doesn't know my child.
Right, and he was terrified of spiders.
Her and her mother were standing by my car, and I said, well, tell me this. Who pulled the gun on my son? Her mother and her turned and looked at each other. Her mother ran. She didn't run because she's on a hover-round. She wheeled back into her house as fast as she could go. And the girl stood there and looked at me in awe, like, how in the hell did you know that?
Right.
And I looked at her like, yeah, I know. So who pulled the gun on my son? And she said, my brother. I said, but answer me this, why? Just the other night, why did he pull the gun on my son? And she said the same exact words my son said. I don't know. He said because he looked at him funny. I mean, come on. Things don't add up here. And the last words, and they ring so loud in my ears when we were driving down the road the last time I talked to him, and he was telling me this, is, Mom, they're all crazy, and they're all family, and I'm never going back there again. A day later, she's sitting in the yard trying to get him to go back to her house.
Right.
And that's where he went missing from. I mean, it's crazy. But there's people that know, and we know, and the detectives know what happened what happened.
Right.
So they can
Right.
make up all the stories or think they're getting away by, oh, I passed the lie detector test, whatever. If you're a habitual liar, you can sit there and lie to people all day long and your heartbeat never change.
Right.
But one piece of that puzzle will be put back together, The puzzle is going to come out. And all those, because one thing's for sure, more than one was involved. And the story's been told and told. Yeah.
Right.
But that's all I have to say. I mean, I just want them to know that they think that they're distancing themselves from the situation and they're not being looked at and nobody really knows because all these stories come up. The law's not that stupid.
Right.
I guess that's all I wanted to say. I just don't understand. It's such a small town. And these people know. They know.
Well, I wonder if they feel like in their whatever twisted little minds, like, because he didn't grow up there, he was like an outsider to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they protect their own. And I mean, and then they're all related. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
If
that's what it sounds like.
The personality and in a family sense with that family, yeah, probably. But with any normal people that's not just mental health to death, if Austin, I mean, he was a likable person. He was a people person. And if he was around a group of, I mean, I can't tell you, I mean, really, I can't think of anybody that, you know, we hung around with that didn't call him family. Like, if you hung out with him, you loved him. And, I mean, it literally would take somebody that is so cold-hearted, somebody that does not need to be on these streets. Because if there's anybody that, I don't see how anybody could hurt him. Because he was just, I mean, I'm not saying he was perfect, but he had no unlikable qualities about him. He was down to earth. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
I mean, he was down to earth. He was a very likable person. He wasn't when he got around you, when, you know, you were, like I said, he was the light in any situation. He, you know, you wasn't down and out around Austin. If you were down and out, he was going to do whatever he could to make you laugh. He was going to do whatever he could to cheer you up. If it meant painting his fingernails like a girl, I mean, dressing in all pink, like, it didn't matter. He was the jokester. Like, he would make you laugh, and that's exactly what he done. So anybody that could have done this, like, the way they can't be, I mean, their mind cannot be right. They cannot have a conscience. It's somebody that just does not need to be on these streets at all.
Well, there's always trouble around this girl that was involved. And she was all about this thug life and trying to get the boys fighting over and, you know, whatever. And, you know, that's but, and her mother, I believe her mother knows everything because she took off hard as she can go, and she feels like she's protecting her child. But what she doesn't realize is, like we said, God don't like ugly. I mean, if you're going to sit there and protect your child when you know something has happened to another mother's child, and you can help her get some kind of closure, because let me tell you, these people were very nosy. They know everything. When we went out there to search, she come out in her hover-round to tell us what parts we could search and not to go down by her son's house because we couldn't go down there. So they know. Just like she knows when I asked about who pulled the gun on him and she run in the house. And what she doesn't realize is, when they say you reap what you sow, I mean, she can't imagine that could have been her child. It still could be. It could be her grandchildren. It's going to come back on you. It's going to, because God's going to show you. You know that old saying, walk a mile in my shoes?
Right.
That's what it's going to be, because sometimes you got to do tough things that you don't want to do because you love your child. But when it's the right thing to do,
okay, we have 1 minute left.
Okay.
Can I just say this?
Yeah.
Can I say this real fast? Austin, to anybody that's listening, Austin does have his own page on Facebook. It's under Justice for Austin. If anybody that's listening, I don't care if you're from around here, if you're from across the country, please help us get this out there. Go to his page, like his page, share his pictures, share the flyers that Michelle's made, anything. Just help us get this out, because we've got, as you've heard us talk for the past few hours, we've got to do something. It's up to us now, because we're not letting his memory die. We're not letting this go away, We're not letting these people continue to walk on the streets and let somebody else's son or somebody else's daughter go through this.
Okay. It's going to hang up.